Hi guys, what's up? It's Alex here. Today we are here with Matt to talk about Toro Rosso's chances in 2016. Would you like to say hello?
Yes, hey guys, it's Matt here, also known as StopMatt1998 on YouTube, and here we are today to preview Toro Rosso's 2016 F1 season.
Yeah, so they're sticking with the same driver lineup as before. Carlos Sainz and Verstappen, obviously very young drivers, but you could say some of the two very good drivers in 2015. Obviously, you'd say definitely Verstappen with the points, but I thought Sainz was pretty good as well. And sticking that lineup probably helps them out for another season to get the continuity. But what do you think about their chances in 2016? Do you think they'll be sort of sticking mid-pack or?
It's going to be very interesting in 2016 because I believe that Ferrari are supplying them with 2015
Power
engines.
unit.
Yeah. And to me, that means they'll already be on the back foot, and for that reason I kind of fear for them really for next year. I'm not really too sure whether they'll be adding any 2016 parts to that engine during the season, but if that's the case, because the engine is so crucial nowadays, and even with like a good aerodynamics package, which Toro Rosso might have next year, they still might be slow, and that's what was the case with McLaren Honda last year in 2015. And I think the midfield is going to be ridiculously close. So, I doubt they'll actually be a slowest team, to be honest. But if I had to choose, I would say Toro Rosso, simply because they have a 2015 Ferrari power unit, and the engine is so important nowadays.
Oh yeah, I was recording a preview earlier, and somebody said that it could be the first season in a long time where all the teams score points, because obviously you've got Manor with the Mercedes engine now. I mean, even though they might not have the best car, they could get a point here and there, and I think Haas won't be that bad, so it should be pretty interesting. I mean, Toro Rosso obviously have always been that they're never going to be as good as Red Bull. Like, if they are, they will get told to slow down. But over the whole season they'll be behind them. But yeah, what do you think about the driver? Do you like the drivers or?
I like both Verstappen and Sainz. I think Verstappen last season, his season on the whole was slightly overhyped. I don't think he was as good as people said he was. I mean, to be honest, 2 4th place in his first season as a 17-year-old for the majority of the season, it's pretty impressive. Hungary and USA, I think he ended up with something like 49 points, so nearly 50 points in his first season. And Carlos Sainz, again, I think is actually level with Verstappen in terms of pace. It's just he was really unlucky last season.
Yeah, I've got to agree, yeah.
With reliability, I think he got 7 DNFs, something like that, and only scored 18 points at the end of it. But yeah, I think Verstappen and Sainz, 2 very, very good drivers, and hopefully push the team forward. And I still think they'll get points next year, but I don't think they'll really improve on their constructors' finish from last year of 7th.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, isn't it? I mean, we were doing the Sauber preview earlier, and Carpi, who did that with me, said that they're probably going to be the worst team. He thought they'd be the worst team just because they got so little money. The Ferrari power unit and all that. I mean, if you remember back to 2014, obviously Sauber were bad. Manor beat them in the standings. So yeah. Sauber, I think, maybe could even be the worst team, obviously, with Manor having the Mercedes power unit. But yeah, Toro Rosso, it's never going to be the biggest team, is it? But
yeah, exactly. I think we're just talking about Sauber a little bit. Obviously, because they have the 2016 Ferrari power, I still think they'll be ahead of Toro Rosso. Because aerodynamics, obviously, they make a huge difference to the car, but in this era, then they don't make that much of a difference. I still think Toro Rosso will be slightly behind Sauber, but could catch up as the season progresses. I mean, I suppose it just depends on how much Sauber develop their car.
I suppose that is true. I mean, Toro Rosso came out of the blocks with a pretty good car last year, didn't they?
Yeah, I think Toro Rosso. I think both Toro Rosso and Sauber came out with strong cars, but I think Toro Rosso were able to develop it a lot better over the season.
Yeah.
And I'd say that Toro Rosso had slightly better drivers, Verstappen and Sainz. I mean, Felipe Nasr I think he was a decent driver, but in terms of driver quality, I still say Toro Rosso edged it ever so slightly.
Yeah, and Toro Rosso probably do a bit more money at the end of the day to finance the upgrades and that sort of stuff, don't they?
Yeah, because obviously they have Red Bull to support them and stuff. And actually, on some weekends last year, Toro Rosso were actually sort of on par with Red Bull, but they couldn't really convert that in the race because I'd say they had slightly worse reliability and obviously race pace in general.
I think the last year's Toro Rosso was pretty decent aerodynamically, but as you said, that there was quite a lot of problems in the system by the look of it. The amount of retirement Sainz had in particular was kind of, you could say, a bit disturbing for them that they had that many retirements in one season. I mean, you'd think for a team with that sort of budget that wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Toro Rosso, again, obviously having the backing from Red Bull, I think, as I mentioned earlier, Sainz with 7 DNFs, that is not a good record at all. I mean, I think they'll actually be disappointed that they didn't beat Lotus last year, considering how much Grosjean was carrying that team. I think Lotus beat them by 11 points in the end. And I think really the main factor for that, again, was reliability and the fact they had a pretty poor end to the season. Toro Rosso, I think, Sainz didn't finish in the points in any of them and had one retirement in Brazil. So overall, I think they just need to work on improving that reliability. And hopefully with a Ferrari engine, it should be a lot better and they should be finishing more races.
So what do you think, if we're looking at a bit ahead towards maybe the end of this season, do you think if the drivers do perform, do you think there's any chance of like Helmut Marko or whoever makes the decisions at Red Bull, do you think there's a chance of either of them getting promoted or kicked out?
That's a very interesting one because it depends on what happens, in other teams like Ferrari, for example, because we know that Ferrari are after Max Verstappen. I think, assuming it will be Kimi Raikkonen's last year, they'll be looking for a replacement. They might go with a more experienced base, such as Bottas and Hülkenberg at Ferrari, but again, it depends who performs well for Red Bull, because I think Ricciardo and Kvyat, both, pretty decent drivers, but if one of them doesn't perform, assuming Kvyat's that one, I could potentially see him getting dropped, maybe Verstappen promoted, and Sainz will probably stay at Toro Rosso, but again, it's hard to judge when the season hasn't really got going yet, but yeah, I think it depends on driver performance, really, whether any of them will be promoted or dropped.
I mean, it would be sad to see, it's kind of a bit ruthless, the Red Bull Academy. I mean, like someone like Jamie Hawkesroy.
Yeah.
He was I thought he was pretty incredible what he did in Toro, so in comparison to Buemi, he had more experience, but yeah, he sort of just got completely taken out of that Red Bull program, and yeah, he's not even racing anymore, is he? He's retired from racing.
It's I think
kind of sad, but if you're not enjoying it, I guess there's no point. Keep going. But anyway, what do you just a shot in the dark? What would you say their chances are for this season? Like, how many points? Where do you think they'll be finishing in the standings?
Okay, in terms of points, I'm going to say they're going to get between 40 and 50 points, so not as good as 2015. And in the Constructors' Championship, so there's 11 teams this year. I'm going to go for 9th. I'm going to go for 9th place.
So that'll be ahead of
both
Manor.
Yeah, Manor, and I'm also going to say Sauber as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I've got to be honest, Sauber, Manor obviously is a bit worrying. I mean, I've got to record a preview at some point with them. I don't know how I'm going to do that with no drives or anything confirmed, but yeah, Manor's obviously concerned. This could even be their last. They might not even finish the season if they don't get the required budget. So you'd assume they'd probably be last, even with a Mercedes engine.
Yeah,
Sauber.
I think with Manor, I think they will definitely score points this year with the 2016, Mercedes power. But I don't necessarily see them beating Sauber. They could beat Sauber. I suppose it just depends how they develop their car. Because Manor, I really doubt will develop their car over the course of the season at all. Obviously because of the low budgets and stuff. But
yeah, and also there were 10 teams last year, so everyone got a bit of that prize money. But someone's going to miss out this year, isn't it? And it's going to be quite fundamental for one of them.
Yeah, it's going to be I mean, obviously Manor, I like Manor as a team, but
yeah,
I think their chance of points next year are, I say obviously higher than normal, the Mercedes power, but I suppose it also depends on the drivers they get, because I've been hearing rumours that perhaps Rio Haryanto is in with a chance of getting that seat, and with poorer drivers, perhaps that sort of reduces their chances of getting points. Obviously Haryanto being quite inexperienced, but if they get somebody in there like Alexander Rossi, for example, then I think they do have a chance of scoring some decent points. But again, it really depends on what happens in testing, and obviously the first weekend in Melbourne to really see how they'll perform throughout the rest of the year. Yeah,
that's true. Haryanto, I think, has only had a little bit of experience in a Formula 1. I think he did a couple of tests with Caterham a couple of years ago. So, as you said, it's a bit of a shot in the dark for Manor if they really want to go forward with the team. But yeah, someone like Rossi, he's had a lot of experience, and maybe even, I don't know, Stevens, maybe not really the best example. But someone with just a bit of experience. I mean, I'm a fan of Adrian Sutil, so him being back in F1, just like to lead a team would be kind of cool, but I doubt it will happen. But
no, unfortunately not, because I think Sutil, I think it's actually been rumoured, I've heard that he's left his Williams test driver role, and I think he's going to be joining the Japanese Super GT. That's what I heard anyway.
That'd be pretty cool. I just want to see him back racing again. It's sad when you see someone that you've supported for so long just sort of sort of like disappear.
Yeah, that's the case with me with Heikki Kovalainen. I don't know what he's doing now. I haven't really been keeping track, but I used to really like him when he was in F1, especially at Caterham. I was always really hoping for him to score points. I thought he would in 2012, but wasn't to be, unfortunately.
So is that that pretty much it? Any more things you want to talk about Toro Rosso? Or?
I think this year, Sainz and Verstappen will be a lot, closer in the championship and also in the race as well. Because obviously with the Ferrari power, I think they'll be a lot more reliable. So we'll get to see. So I think it'll be a better representative in terms of how close or how sort of evenly matched both drivers are. So I think we'll get an impression of that this year with Verstappen and Sainz.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think as you said, Sainz, he could have scored double the points if he just hadn't retired from some of those races.
Definitely.
Maybe he might not have. Like I've got to be honest, Verstappen was lucky with some of those results.
Yeah, because he got 2 fourth place in Hungary and USA, and we all know what happened in those races. So many DNFs, just the most crazy races. I'd probably even say those 2 races, I know it's a bit off topic, but probably maybe top 5 of the 21st century. I'd even go as far as that for those 2 races.
Yeah, so USA, that was the one where Rosberg messed up.
Yeah, and wind. Yeah, sure, mate.
And was it Hungary? You say Hungary, wasn't
Hungary.
it? Vettel one.
Yeah.
They were pretty epic races. I think I missed. I saw the American one, but I missed the Hungary race. I was absolutely gutted. I've never watched it.
No, the Hungary race was really good. I definitely watched the full thing of that. In fact, actually, with the Hungary race, the first 29 laps were probably the worst I've ever seen. But after that, oh my goodness me, that was just incredible.
All right, is that everything?
Yeah, I think that's all. We previewed Toro Rosso 2016 season to finish 9th ahead of Sauber and Manor Racing. It is this year, not Manor Marussia.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Also, how many subscribers are you at right now?
I am at 2,380, I think it is exactly.
Well, we've definitely got to get past 2,500 with the support on this video. So
yeah, hopefully it'll be very much appreciated.
Yeah, so guys, check out Matt. Link in the description down below. Thanks for watching this video. It's been Alex and Matt out of here. Goodbye.
Bye.